Hi everyone, my name is Madison Sexton. I'm the CEO of Hemp Mills. Hemp Mills is the first hemp weaving and knitting facility in America. On the screen right now, you can see a small snapshot of just part of our factory. This is where some weaving and knitting goes on. And on the right, you can see a comparison of hemp versus cotton, where it shows a myriad of differences. My background's in genetic modification of plants. Started off in Monsanto in Hawaii in 2000, when I was about 19 years old. One of the things I'm super passionate about with hemp is that you need no pesticides to grow hemp. Cotton's actually responsible for 45% of the global pesticide use and 70% of the total insecticide use. The other benefits that we're super passionate about is 3 times more production per acre. It's 4 times warmer, 4 times water absorbent, which is great for all of our baby care clients, and as well as 3 times stronger. But our internal testing shows sometimes our tensile strength even 8 times stronger. So the main problem is that there's no hemp yarn spinning facility in America. Hemp yarn is actually one of the 11 exemptions on the Berry Amendment for the United States. The main issue we have internally is that our main cost when we're doing yarn textiles for weaving and knitting actually comes from shipping in the yarn from China and Romania. There's multiple reasons why hemp yarn hasn't been established in America yet, but we're in the perfect position right now with all the industrial hemp fiber to actually set up the first American hemp fiber spinning facility. So right now, our solution is farm to fabric. Right now, it's a perfect time because the industrial hemp has set up the first 3 arms of the supply chain with the farmers growing the correct strains already for the correct hemp. They're growing it right now for building materials. It's about a 14-foot long strain with about a 4-millimeter diameter, and it's the perfect strain for us to eventually spin it into hemp yarn to go into our textiles that we're already doing currently. Domestically, every state that's using hemp already has a decorticator set up, and then they're shipping it to the processing facilities. These 3 supply chains are already set up, and that'll go straight into our yarn spinning facility. The market projections, this is about a $42.8 billion industry as far as textiles in America. The yarn and fiber industry alone is about a $750 million industry. We look to have 5% of that market share by Q4 of 2024. These are, as far as our competitors are investing in yarn, but hemp yarn spinning takes water, and they're not set up for the water recycling for yarn spinning. They don't have the experience that we have on our team for actually doing the hemp yarn in-house. Right now, so the revenue on the top right, the flexible made-to-order manufacturing, that's our current revenue based off of some COVID stuff we're doing, as well as our knits, hemp wovens, and other things like that, as well as some non-wovens we're kind of getting into. All of our equipment we bring in is refurbished. The refurbishing bass fiber spinning equipment costs $2.3 million, and that production is about 70,000 kilograms of yarn production per day, with projected revenue on the bottom of, we plan to reach 5% of the market by 2025, which will be $350 million. My team is made up of the absolute elite of the knitting and spinning world. Emmett Hilton comes out of Cotton Incorporated. Cotton Incorporated is a completely vertical supply chain for cotton. He's super passionate about yarn spinning, yarn combing. He's a world-class knitter. Jeff Carpenter has set up cut and sew facilities, product development for Moby and Bobo, which are some of our clients, and our CFO consists of Christopher Forbelides. My personal background is I come from a research background of Monsanto. I've been involved in Silicon Valley startups such as Volta, Flex Design Co., and I had multiple beacon app development companies while I lived in Hawaii. We're asking for $3.3 million. Most of that will be in secured assets for the machinery equipment that we're looking to set up. So here's kind of the production facility we're looking to establish. We're really excited. The main reason why our competitors again haven't done this is because people get a little bit afraid of hemp because of the intense water usage. With our use of water recycling, back from my agricultural background, we're able to take the fiber bales that are already compressed and already being made by fibers. We put them through a blender and an opener, and the water recycling will be patented, but we put them through a blender and opener, and we really soften this in order to achieve the hemp textiles. Currently, we're already working and kind of spinning some hemp yarn in-house, such as with hemp with wool to make this sock. We do a lot of knits in-house, and yeah, that's kind of what we're looking to do. Let me go back to this slide. A little bit more about Emmett. Emmett came on board because he came from the synthetic industry and the cotton industry, and there's a lot of fraud that happens in textiles. He's super, super passionate about bringing this yarn facility on board. We already kind of know where we're going to do it in Haw River. We have our team standing by, and we're really excited with the timing of this industry and the already supply chain that's set up. I'm part of multiple hemp associations. We've done a lot of research with NC State, HIA, and North Carolina Industrial Hemp, and now's the time for the textile revolution.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Madison. Yeah, if we can get Dr. Shante and Steve, go ahead and turn your cameras back on. Oops.
I think we have my CFO, Chris, too, on the computer if you guys have any questions.
Dr. Shante, you want to go first?
Yes, it says the host has stopped my video, but...
Yeah, sorry, I turned it back on. Too many buttons.
I got you. So 5 minutes goes by quickly, right?
Yes.
So just a couple of pointers of feedback. I do some manufacturing investing, and make sure that you're streamlining your story, because manufacturing is super exciting and makes a lot of money, but it's much easier if we go, simple product, production, and outcome, especially with manufacturing, because it can get pretty granular really quickly. So I'm going to kind of back up and ask you some questions to make sure I understand exactly what it is that you're looking to do. Is that okay? Okay, so the business that you have started already uses hemp yarn, is that correct?
No, we're hemp weaving and knitting. That's currently what we've been doing for the past year and a half.
Okay, so when you tell me what that means.
Okay, so that means we import the hemp yarn from Romania and China, and we weave it and knit it into hemp fabrics. So that's jersey knit, woven for the upholstery industry, jersey knit for the t-shirt industry. We do webbing for the dog collar and dog leash industry, a myriad of product lines. Yeah. Okay,
so I completely missed that part of it. So you're an existing business that already does something, and you're looking to change maybe your supply chain by investing in your own facility.
Correct. Yeah. So currently,
okay.
We've already done a seed round about a year and a half ago. We raised about $250,000. We're already profitable off of that. Now we're in our Series A, looking to take control of the supply chain. And why we haven't done it before, Dr. Shante, just because the processing facilities weren't set up with the hemp farmers, but now is the perfect time that the funding from the government's gone to the processing facilities.
Gotcha. So in the existing business, so I think that might be important to capture that you already know, you already know how to turn it into material one, two, that you're already selling it, and what those sales look like, month over month, or, to show that traction, and then showing the impact of your supply chain changes and owning the facility and how that would impact what you're able to do, maybe the price point, maybe the customers, all of that. I think I remember you saying something about it, but if we could, I would spend a little more time there, because I completely missed that part.
Okay, yes, I also talk fast. Thank you, Dr. Shante.
No worries. I have the same affliction, if you will. So okay, I got you now. So who's currently also making hemp fabrics, or who are your actual direct competitors in this space, other than that are US based, I should ask?
So we are the only hemp weaving and knitting mill in America right now. Our direct competitor is a few of the distributors, but they are actually importing fraudulent hemp fabric. Part of our sales strategy, I hate calling it strategy because we break business owners' hearts, but they've been importing what they think is hemp fabric. We send it off to the lab. It comes back as cotton and rayon. So the hemp fabric being imported out of China really is not hemp fabric. So right now, you have the market on hemp wovens, and we're the only factory in America.
Wow. Okay. I mean, that's a huge deal. And then one other question, where would you be locating this facility? Have you kind of decided on where it would go? And then as far as working with maybe local government for economic impact or creating jobs, have you started those discussions?
Yes, we have. So we have talked to economic development a lot on this. There are grants too that we can do to make this happen. But the first spinning facility will create about 42 jobs. It's going to be located in Haw River. That's because where Emmett is, where my past Cotton Incorporated team is, and it's positioned by all the hemp decorticators and processors within about 2 hours, so it can all just flow into that facility via truck.
Gotcha.
And then we're looking to move to the West Coast after we kind of do a sample in North Carolina.
Gotcha. Yeah. Steve?
Great, thank you, Dr. Shante. So Couple comments about the presentation. I think that, I agree with Dr. Shante that information in this space can get very technical very quickly. So maybe there's a way to, just get that to be a bit more informative about the business and the business opportunity and that kind of thing. I do agree that two things that were a little understated. One is the, competitive advantage that you would have by vertically integrating, especially given that you're the only people that are going to be equipped to do this, at least in the near term.
Yeah.
I would be curious if that's protectable in any way through exclusivity with your customers, through guaranteed production. And so the other part that I think I'd like to hear more about is whenever you have a going entity or a going business that's already successful, understanding a little bit more about the intersection of where you are now and why, like Dr. Shante indicated, is critical. Like, how does this change pricing, gross margin? How does it change supply when you vertically integrate? And what are the benefits of that to your existing customers? And does that help you grow the business with them? Meaning, can you secure, or have they given you verbal or other commitments if you can produce to expand the business with you? The second part is just on the capital side. When you have a profitable going entity like this and you're raising $3.3 million for something like manufacturing, I'm curious whether or not you really are raising an equity round, or are you really looking at somebody to provide mostly debt that would be backed by the equipment purchases? I don't know, if it's mostly for manufacturing equipment, then it seems to me like something that would be highly debt financeable, given the fact that you are, currently a profitable business with customers. So I'd be maybe a little bit curious about, breaking down the 3.3. Is it all equity? Is it equity plus debt? And a little more specific on the use of proceeds and your ability to collateralize that with the equipment purchases. That's a technical I know a bit of a technical finance thing, but I think it would be interesting because in this marketplace in particular, a lot of early stage money, a lot of people have developed, I think, a little bit more interest than has typically been in syndicating debt in the angel community. So where typically a bunch of people would pass the hat and you generate, $500,000 or $1 million in equity, you can get larger sums of money on debt because it's everybody's a little conservative right now with capital given everything that's going on in the market. So anyways, just a thought. On the business itself, I have a couple of questions. Yeah, you used an interesting term. I think a lot of people have used it in the agri-food space. This farm to fabric, I think was the term you used, which makes perfect sense. I understand that. I'm curious where currently the majority of your raw materials would come from, and are you actually having to put contracts on acres in order to have the supply that you need to be able to spin the yarn? And pricing in this space, commodities are in a pretty crazy space right now. And I know I haven't looked specifically at hemp, but I know in the agriculture business that I've been involved in, there's been an awful lot of acres that have turned over away from cotton because of the cost, the technical nature, and the equipment associated with the harvest on cotton and where pricing is. And so I'm curious where your acres are going to come from and if you're going to have to, contract those to be able to secure supply.
Yeah, so we are working with farmers across the domestic United States. We do about 4-acre plots right now, both in California and in North Carolina with farmers with the NCSU extension program, and they actually are already growing the acreage. I think there's over like 50,000 yards North Carolina alone for this hemp strain that we need, and this has been in the process for like the last 9 months with like some development from Patagonia, NCSU, and some other extension programs we're involved with to get this fiber to the spinnable process.
Okay, so there it is a specific strain genetically, and you believe there's going to be enough people that are willing to grow it because the pricing's there. That would just be my biggest concern.
Yeah, 100%. And there's an excess in the current hemp that we're very in touch with farmers. I talk to farmers like a small portion of my day, but yeah, this fiber is already being grown for building materials and hemp oil. And we'll be taking the excess because it's just being held up in barns and warehouses right now.
Yeah, that was a follow-on question I had, is it whether or not the genetic strains that are generally associated with oil extraction are, if the byproduct of that is what you could use. I only say that because I know a lot of people are sitting on those inventories because of where prices came from, but I also think a lot of them don't necessarily they'll sell to an, or revenue share with an extraction, facility, but the raw materials themselves sometimes are even discarded or not sold. And so I was curious if that particular strain was going to be viable for you guys as raw material.
That particular strain can be decorticated out, and if you wet the fiber, and it can be used in animal bedding and things like that. But the hemp fiber will be used as the hemp fiber that's being specifically grown for hempcrete and things like that. That's already been grown for industrial hemp use, not the CBD oil per se.
Okay, great. It's good. It's an interesting business. I think that maybe the only other comment I would say is that North Carolina has such a rich textile history. I think it's pretty exciting to see companies like yours trying to kind of tap into that heritage. And I wonder if that isn't somehow part of the story is the intellectual property and the professional expertise that exists in the Carolinas. I would hope would give you a nice head start on this if it hasn't already. But
yeah, moved from the West Coast 2 years ago to start the mill because of the textile industry. So right on point. Thank you guys.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Madison. Great job.